much last time. I will just say I'm going to endeavor to keep things moving, even when things take a very weird turn for the worse. And I'm going to make sure everybody has something to do. It occurred to me last time there was one way, precisely one way that I could have had the other party doing something, and I didn't think of it the entire time during the session. It hit me afterwards. So, we'll move on. Does anybody have any questions about the game or anything that they've come across that I can answer before we start?
The game? No. I would like to know why our character sheets all seem to have double spaces in them now.
Do they?
A lot of mine do. Star Wars About Numbers and
Oh,
Disney
yeah.
World.
I don't see that on mine.
Where?
Yeah, showed up on mine too. It's actually a little bigger now, which is not too bad.
Where's the double space in yours,
Starts down below Spellbook, I believe.
All
What
the
the
entries for Spellbook have 2 gaps in them somehow.
If you
this on
delete the
everybody's
entry, does
sheet?
it fix it? Yeah, it's on my sheet now as well. That's interesting.
I didn't adjust anything, and the sheets are not linked. So somebody would have had to go through and manually adjust everything.
I don't see anything wrong with mine.
Yeah, mine looks
Mine
good.
starts on line 47, and then it just
I don't
keeps
know.
like that the whole way down for some
There's
reason.
a couple times
It's in
where
all
it
the
goes back
Spellbook
to 1.
entries on mine that's doing it.
Yeah, there's no
I-
problem with mine because I don't
Mine looks
have any
perfectly
spellbook
fine.
entries.
If you go through and just delete those spellbook entries, like copy a blank page or like a blank one that's spaced correctly, and then paste it into your spellbook, it'll fix it.
What did you determine was causing that, Victor? It was double clicking, or was it hitting?
Sometimes just certain words make it stretch. Like there's no rhyme or reason. But if you take one of the spellbook entries that's not broken, delete the text, and then copy and paste it to your whole spellbook, it'll fix all your spacing, guys.
I highly
I'm doing that right
recommend
now.
against double clicking on any of the cells. I know it's caused problems in the past. I've been able to do it without causing an issue, but I know it's been adding lines and it just makes things weird. You can just click on a cell and edit right from there.
Yeah, I know that causes it, but I didn't double click every single cell in the Spellbook as well.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
You don't have OCD, really?
I don't know how that happened.
Anybody need me to fix theirs? I got mine fixed now.
Yeah, mine's good now.
We can deal with that as we go on, but that's just very, very odd, because it literally would have had to have been a change made to
Well, I'm saying, like, my
all of
Stars
the
About
effective
Numbers sheet
character
was like
sheets.
that too a couple days ago.
That's weird.
It's probably just some kind of Google Docs issue.
Maybe.
Anyways, sorry for detracking that.
No, that's fine. I'm actually going through and just fixing anybody's that's not fixed right now.
Yeah, it didn't take too long. Yeah, I just went down the spellbook with the paste and it worked.
It looks like that put everybody back to where we need to be. Cool.
Okay, so do you want to get the recording started and we can begin?
Sure.
Keep forgetting some of these classes have no spellbook. I'm like, where the hell did they go?
I do want to ask, is this being uploaded? I don't know the YouTube policy on private videos in terms of music being copyrighted. Everything that I'm using is from SoundCloud, which is officially usable from Roll20.
Mhm.
But I will just mention it as a potential issue if you're doing any sort of streaming with it.
What I've been doing is I stream it straight to Twitch. Then when we're done, I just go to Twitch and tell it to upload, and it uploads it straight to YouTube.
Okay.
And that way, it's if anyone basically, but it just uploads it. And if YouTube has any issues with music, it just says something, and I have a choice of either taking the music out, or usually what it just says is basically it just tells me there's music on it and that it can't be monetized, which considering we get about 8 views of video, it's not like that's an issue anyway.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't want the
But no,
videos
it's
to
so
get
far
shut
there's
down.
only been one ever that had any issues at all.
Was it one of ours?
Yep.
Okay.
And it was just it just simply said you can't do it. Now, you know, it's not a big deal that the video had a whole 8 views on it, so it's not like I'm ever worried about it.
Okay.
You know, I'm doing this for the group, not to make money at it. The fact that
All right, so you get the recording started?
Yep.
All right. So, where we last left off, we found our I'm not even gonna say party, like our survivors shipwrecked on this island called Masenkia, and both parties ended up going their separate ways for a couple reasons. One to the east of the island and one to the west. The eastern part of the island has a village inhabited by fairly friendly minotaurs. The western part of the island has an encampment of, I wouldn't call them not friendly, but fairly authoritarian former pirates running the camp, and they don't see eye to eye. And there's been some history of hostility between the two. And as we saw last session, things can get out of hand fairly quickly when one of the leaders is threatened. And the Lady Bunko, prostitute thief, and I don't know what else, attempted to enact a plan to assassinate and dethrone all of the leaders of the survivors camp, and ended up getting caught and was sentenced to execution the following morning, and this was on the third day. There was a whole lot of chaos in the encampment. Nobody really knew what was actually going on. Still kind of unclear as to what happened, what she was doing there. But she did not plead her case very well with the island's authorities, quote unquote. And even her own defender was not exactly too sure of her innocence. So she was jailed for the night. And I think we're going to pick up like in the very early morning. Like it's the sun is not quite up yet. And Lunaeus, I'm not going to call you the crazy druid, but certainly the interesting druid, has had a feeling. He had a vision in the past about a danger that follows Bunko, and due to this feeling, he hightailed it from the eastern encampment and went to the western one, trying to see what was happening. Meanwhile, Amorous, the ranger, kind of beset on all sides by either kind of a weak-willed captain or a very, I guess, noticeable lack of friends. You kind of witnessed this as well. Lunaeus, right as you're kind of getting into the encampment, or I guess you're flying into it, you notice smoke rising from one of the corners of the camp, and there seems to be quite a lot of activity for this time of night. Amorous, you woke up sometime in the night, and you heard. I mean, you were asleep, so it's hard to tell exactly what you could make out, but you definitely heard some sort of explosion in the middle of the night. And it's been a couple hours, and it's not entirely clear what's going on. Part of the wall was blown up and was on fire. And as you're kind of, I guess, surveying the camp, Amorous, and keeping Captain Valmos out of trouble, he seems to. You seem to kind of be trying to to secure him as a means of securing a spot in this camp. You notice a very familiar gull with a long beard flying into the camp, and the sun is not even up yet. Like there's maybe a hint on the horizon. So yeah, Lunaeus, do you land straight into the camp and just change back into druid form, or do you circle around? Are you cautious? How do you approach this?
Okay, I'm going to fly to where the fire is on the wall. The wall got blown out?
Actually, it was blown inward, and the fire is mostly out. There's some embers on some of the walls, like on some of the tinders. The wall is basically made up of vertically aligned, shafts of wood, basically just logs, and like maybe 5 or 6 of the logs have been blown into the camp, and it looked like several of them had been set on fire.
And what's on the outside that could have blown it in?
There's a very small, shallow recess in the ground. There was obviously grass there before. It's been burned away. There's just kind of a soot-filled crater.
Okay, so I'll land on the wall where it's not on fire and call out, "Hey, something exploded out there."
While you're still a seagull.
No, I'll transform into my druid form.
One of the townspeople looks up and they just see an old man on there. I don't think they noticed you like flying up there, so they do a double take. Like, how did that old man get up there? And then they're like, "No shit, that happened like 2 hours ago. Where have you been?"
Not here. What blew up?
The wall.
No, on the outside of the wall. Something blew up outside and hit the wall.
What are you even doing up there?
I'm looking at a crater.
The villager just like shakes his head and walks off. Amorous, you see him standing up on top of the wall.
The explosion took place 2 hours ago?
Like a couple hours ago. Maybe closer to an hour, I'll say.
So, had an explosion for no apparent reason and no one attacked us.
The
fact that this much time has passed is why I'm saying this.
Yeah, no attack. Certainly there was a bunch of guards around that area, and they basically were not letting people through. And I think maybe the guards recognized you, and normally you seem the sort that they probably would let through to help with, but I think they remembered the incident with Bunko the night before, or the day before, and like they
I'm
just
not in the best of favor with them at the moment.
Yeah, like maybe that's it.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to understand that an hour's passed and we didn't get attacked or anything. So
no attack. Certainly a lot of commotion in the camp. A lot of rumors, like what, something exploded outside. You saw the distinctive blonde-haired figure of Captain Brendis kind of surveying the scene, and Captain Paratha joined him later on, and it seems like maybe this explosion occurred in very near proximity to the building where they were jailing Bunko.
Okay, that's interesting.
Do you what do you say to Lunaeus, or do you say anything at all? Like he's kind of a crazy old man on top of that wall. Do you want to be seen associating with this guy?
Well, considering he said nothing to me before he left, I have no clue that he actually left. I thought he was just kind of wandering around in hiding.
That's a good point.
I honestly have no clue where he's been for the last day and a half. So
Crazy
I will.
Druid hobo.
Yeah. Old man, get down from there before you get hurt.
But something blew up out there.
Yeah, about an hour ago. Where have you been?
Do you get down from the wall?
He's distracting me.
Well, if you're not getting down, like a guard will eventually point up and say, "Hey, you! What are you doing up there?" And
I'm looking at the crater.
get down from there.
Okay. So I jump down and transform into a bird and land on the outside of the wall.
So Linnaeus disappears once again.
Yeah.
It seems like the camp is started to settle a little bit. Do you want to try to find out what happened?
Yeah. I
You
assume there's no like police line type of effect going on anymore around this hole in the wall.
No, there's still like a couple people basically around, a couple guards around the hole. Like it seems like obviously they're guarding the hole in the wall, and there's obviously some people on the other side.
Okay.
You know that like there was people were talking about they sent a party out as soon as this happened, like a 6-man like hunting or raiding or some sort of party as soon as this happened. But yeah, you can approach this this hole. I think there's only 2 people there, and I'm pretty sure you recognize one of them as the guy who was standing outside of Captain Tyvis's place, the one that let you kind of look over the body. You caught his name is Caldwell.
Caldwell. Okay. Caldwell. Have you determined yet what happened? How did we end up with other than an obvious explosion? Were we attacked? Was it a hit and run raid? Do you know anything?
He looks kind of surprised when he sees you. Like he takes you in and then he like realizes who you are and something apparently clicks in his mind. He looks around like maybe he's looking for a superior and he doesn't see one. And he turns back to you. Yes, I'm not. He looks at you again. I'm not sure how to.
Now, don't say anything that'll get you in trouble.
No, it's nothing like that. There was a jailbreak last night.
What?
Look, come here. He motions you closer so he can speak a little lower. He kind of eyes the other guard warily, but he's standing on the opposite side of the hole in the wall, and he doesn't move any closer. Look, I know your friend was in the jail.
I would say acquaintance.
Oh, okay. Well, however you want to describe her, there was another prisoner in there as well, and I don't know too much about the situation. I know the captains were really interested in it, and it seems those damn greenskins blew their way into the compound to try to rescue him, and he kind of gestures over to the back of the jail. And you can actually see that, like part of the wall has been ruptured open. They sprung the prisoners.
Oh wow! So they actually managed to not hurt anyone in the process of an explosion that size?
I don't know that.
Well, no, there's no body parts. Is my point.
Well, Jackson was on the wall when it happened.
Oh, poor Jackson.
Yeah, he gives like, there's a moment of silence between both of you as he kind of lowers his head too.
At least he died an honorable death in service of his duty.
Look, I
don't want to get you in trouble. I understand.
No, it's fine. I'd be more worried about you, Captain Brendis is. You can never tell when he's really mad, but Captain Paratha is steaming. I don't know that they really cared about your acquaintance. but they really wanted something that this goblin had, and
Ooh.
I don't know if I mean, you just arrived at the camp. It seems a little bit coincidental that the night that she gets put in there, the goblin gets broken out. You can see where I'm going with
Oh
this.
no, I understand. I
would be.
I need to be on my toes.
Be careful.
Thank you, my friend. Well,
Do you have anything else to say to him?
Try to have a good evening, and hopefully this will be the end of the excitement for our day, at least.
Yeah, he brushes some soot from his brow, and he's like, "Ah, what a night."
And on that note, I am going to go find my dear befuddled captain and relay the story of what happened to him.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so
Captain,
he can be on his toes as well.
Captain Velmus is this kind of large, dark-skinned kind of guy.
Doesn't seem too bright.
It's not that he's not too bright. It's he doesn't appear very ambitious, and he's definitely not very charismatic.
He kind of basically his goal was to have that ship, and he lost it. Now he's kind of lost himself.
Yeah, like maybe he got the ship due to experience and not skill, and
kind of inherited it.
Yeah, perhaps. Like,
I mean,
maybe
as in the last captain died and he became the captain.
Maybe. But regardless, like, he doesn't strike you as a leader of men.
No.
And he definitely seems out of his depth. And the more you describe this tale of what went on, like, the more just, more out of his depth he seems. He definitely does not seem like he's in any capacity to offer you any sort of assistance right now.
Oh no.
So Amherst is talking to him now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Looney would be looking for Amherst.
Okay, so
before this.
You flew back into the compound as like what the
so he might as well be telling this to both
something?
of us at the same time.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Okay. Well, I probably would have told you separately, to be honest, but that's fine.
So yeah, all that is relayed.
Nice. And the reason I would tell Linnaeus separately is Linnaeus needed to know the whole story. Because he didn't even know Bunko was in prison.
You can embellish after you leave, I guess, but
yeah,
it won't matter that much to him.
I, seeing all this and so forth, I quietly try to suggest to Linnaeus that we find somewhere private to talk about our future. Be it, do I yet have a cabin, or not a cabin, but a place to sleep other than that's halfway private at least?
The survivors from the Saber kind of have their own very small quarter of the encampment, and there are some kind of ramshackle huts and buildings there, and there's like a kind of a general bunkhouse that you're probably staying in. It's probably not packed right now, given that everybody's up investigating the explosion and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, I suggest that as a good place to talk.
So yeah, you make your way there and lift back the cloth door to this place and make your way in. The smell of smoke is just kind of wafting in the air, not very, very thick. And you notice one person on the far side of the room in his bunk with like his pillow kind of over his head, and he's just like turned to face away from the door. And you hear him like mumble something. It seems like he wants to just be left alone, but you have like the rest of the room to yourselves.
Okay. Well, being that there's someone in here asleep, I don't feel exactly free to talk.
You could you're definitely able to whisper here or speak low and not be overheard.
Okay.
This is probably as much privacy as you're going to get in the camp.
Okay. I'll just, in a quiet voice, and hopefully he has the sense to reply in kind, say to Linnaeus, I haven't seen you for a day or so, and are you, been around camp in animal form, or do you know what's been going on with our friend? Or your
Which
friend?
one?
The lady that was with us, the one with the fans. I think
Oh,
Bunko
I don't
was her
know.
name.
Bunko?
The halfling lady.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. I think that was Bunko.
Do you remember, did you know what happened to her yesterday?
No, I wasn't here. I was
See.
over on the eastern shore.
Ah, well, you're a hard person to keep track of, so I had no.
Thank you.
You didn't tell me were leaving, so I had no clue where you had been. There was some rather unsavory dealings yesterday. I'm not sure the whole story, but somehow she ended up in one of the captain's quarters, and through various accounts, ended up killing both the captain and his aide. And she was.
Why?
I don't. She claims that they were attacking her, but to be fair, her attack was her defense was, shall we say, extremely brutal. But regardless, they had her in prison, in jail, scheduled for a morning execution, and I've just found out that the explosion, that we missed, or that you missed, I guess, since you said you just got here, was a jailbreak for one of her cellmates. There were some goblins, or at least one goblin in there, and goblins broke her out, and the goblin that was being held. So, being that I tried, since I knew her a little bit, to give her at least a fair hearing before the captains, we may or may not be welcome here.
Oh, we can go to the other camp.
Other camp.
Sure, the one on the eastern coast. The one filled with minotaurs.
Okay, you're gonna have to fill me in, because we saw smoke over there last I knew.
And
I didn't know
the
what it was.
people that went that way, they met minotaurs, and they're friendly.
I spoke.
Well, they were friendly to us. I guess they don't like the people in this camp very much.
Interesting. Well, it might be in our best interest to go back there. You're right. I do not wish to. Being that I spoke in defense of Bunko, and now she has at least. I don't know if she is the goblin's captive, as I would assume, or why they would take her with her, other than she's wily enough to escape. I don't wish us to be blamed as well.
Well, we could try and track her if we want to.
True. You are, I assume, a decent tracker yourself.
When I'm a dog, sure.
So
I am pretty good tracker myself, so.
So what is your plan? Like, it sounds like, are you guys gonna wait until morning and try to find an excuse to leave the camp?
We don't have a plan yet.
We're working on our plan.
Well, that's what I'm asking right now.
We don't even have a goal yet.
Yeah, we're literally working on our plan. You're hearing us work on it.
All right.
I see like 3 options. We can either try and track down Bunko. I'm not sure why we need to. Or we can just take off for the other camp ourselves, the 2 of us. But that's kind of selfish. Is there anyone else here that you think wants to go over there?
Go over to the other camp?
Yeah, to the Minotaurs. Like, is there anyone else from our ship that wants to go? Like the captain?
The captain doesn't appear to have much ambition. I was hoping it would be otherwise, and I could convince him to at least form a separate camp, or now that we have a better camp to join, but I'm not too sure he'd be willing to do such a thing. And I'm even less sure that he would not attempt to turn us in an attempt to make himself happier here. He hasn't given me reason to believe that, but he also hasn't given me reason to not believe that. He is a very uncommitted man in many aspects.
Do you need to get anything?
I don't think so. Actually, I believe I have all my supplies on me. But unlike you, I am not as free as a form, and we'll have to find a way out that is not over the wall with wings. Although
Well, there's a big hole in the wall.
Yes, but that is rather obvious. I need to find a nice, quiet way out, and or better yet, get myself established with a mission to get myself out.
Yeah, you would know that parties leave fairly regularly into the very near jungle or
Hunting
the
parties.
surrounding coast. Yeah, and you would definitely be a prime candidate for that sort of work.
Yeah, that's where I was headed with that.
Or you can just get ready to hop over the wall someplace while I make a distraction. I can make good distractions.
Oh boy. Such as what? I gotta hear the example at least.
Like an oversized jungle bird making caw-caw-caw sounds, really, really loudly on top of the gate and drawing everyone's attention.
Well, would you not? I don't know if they'd be that easily distracted, considering they just had an explosion to sharpen their wits.
Well, I could keep turning back and forth from that into a human into something else, going, ha, look at the hole in the wall.
Yeah, and you could get shot.
Well, then I'd fly away, and you'd better have run away by then.
Let me see if I can get myself assigned to a hunting party. How about, if you wish, you've been flying around this island. Is there a good place around here we could meet outside so you don't have to wait for me? Other than the Minotaur camp, since you know the way and would need to show me.
How about I just wait at the tree line and I'll see you leave?
That'll work. And if anything happens in the meantime, I will send my friend here to come talk to you. I'm sure you are well versed in owl.
Yeah, I can talk to him.
Alrighty. So I will see you within, I would hope, a couple hours.
Oh, good. I was afraid I'd have to wait longer than that.
Oh, depends on when the next hunting party leaves.
All right, see you later.
See ya. Okay.
So I walk out, turn into a bird, and fly off.
Some woman just stands there gaping at you as you turn into a bird, and she doesn't make a sound as she just points in the air, her jaw slack as you fly lazily over the wall. Amorous, what do you do?
She has obviously had far too much rum.
When Linnaeus opens the flap of the bunkhouse, you notice that it's started to get a little bit lighter outside. It's certainly not full morning yet, but the sun is on the rise somewhere.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to my guard friend, Caldwell, if I remember correctly, and inquire if there are any hunting parties leaving today that could use some help, especially due to the chaos. They might want to leave some of their regular guards here.
Caldwell,
he seems like he would at least know who to tell me to talk to.
Yeah, he doesn't have any authority, but he definitely knows a lot. He would refer you to Sewell. He was kind of one of the quartermasters for one of the ships, but Tyvis had the general quartermaster job. So he was kind of relegated to tasks of organizing hunting parties and stuff like that, although maybe not for long. Sewell, he would be able to get you onto a hunting party.
Is that with an S or a Z?
Sewell.
Okay. way you were pronouncing it, I was thinking Zuul. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
we didn't go
Yeah, I was
Ghostbusters.
just thinking that too.
The DM has made a reference, and thou must listen.
Okay. Do you want me
So
to
you
role
want-
play that conversation too, or just?
No. There is a scene that I do want to describe though as you're on your way. Sewell definitely lets you out on a hunting expedition. He's a big guy with short red hair, and he's fairly stalwart. Like he studies you pretty carefully, and he doesn't look entirely enthusiastic about letting you go, but he can definitely recognize that you are absolutely the most experienced person that they could possibly have out there. And he gives you some stuff about like, oh, don't get into trouble, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. I'm gonna send you out with 3 other people, and we need Boar. He basically gives you like kind of the runabout for how they generally do things, and you end up with 3 other hunters kind of walking along the gangway towards the beach. The sun is definitely starting to rise. It's early morning, and from down the beach you see roughly half a dozen figures walking along the beach towards the encampment. It takes about 10 minutes for them to get within visual range, much less talking distance. And the guy who's nominally leading your hunting party, Haywood, he has you guys basically kind of stop on the beach and prepare, but it's pretty obvious that he just wants to make time and see like what these people have to say when they return to the camp. And yeah, the six people are kind of trudging along the beach, and you recognize them all as the sort of unofficial guards of the encampment. Most of them have swords. There's a couple spears. One guy has a crossbow, and they look like they've been hard at work. And I think you probably recognize, or at least if you don't, you hear one of the other hunters with you mention something about that's the party that went after the escapees. And they approach, and Haywood, the guy leading your party, calls out and asks them how things went. And the leader of the party, a kind of a short woman with pale skin and short black hair, who you know to be Captain Paratha's like right hand. Her name is Nura, and she's like a very kind of vicious woman, by all reputations. She doesn't really growl at him, but she just looks at him and she's like, "The damn goblins got away, but not this one." And like she kind of like hefts a sack over her shoulder, and you can see blood like kind of seeping down from the bottom of this burlap sack.
She doesn't go into detail as to whether she's got a goblin or a human in her sack or anything.
She doesn't say anything. I think you want to roll a, let's see here. This wouldn't be any sort of check. Do you ask about it, or do you just let them walk on by?
I'm just seeing if that's all. She just says, you said, but not this one. Usually someone would make some type of comment about.
No,
what
she's
the person they got was or not. She's
pretty aggressive, but she's not bragging like, we skinned that goblin or something. It's definitely too small to be a full-sized goblin or even a full-sized halfling. It looks like maybe the size of a head.
Nice.
And unless you say anything, the party walks by and then heads back to camp.
I'll just make a comment about at least your quest was not completely with something to that effect.
You get a very cold look from Nura, like, who the fuck are you sort of look, but she walks on by. You get the feeling like I don't know that you're the sort who gets like a shiver up their spine easy. You're a pretty hardened veteran of danger in the forest, but like you get the sense that this is a predator.
Yeah, she looked at me as if I was her prey.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, almost like potential prey. So
give me a reason. Go ahead.
Yeah. Lunaeus, you see the Emrys and the other three eventually kind of head off towards the edge of the jungle. We're gonna flip over to the other side of the island, where it's a little bit brighter. And
okay, I'll just follow him for a while.
Okay.
Done.
And the Minotaur village is definitely kind of rising with the sun, and the rest of you, Regan, Nicodemus, Telemon, and Padine, you've all awoken in your. I think you probably have like a guest hut, like it's well made. It's on like a firm bed of grass or something.
Guest bungalow.
Yeah, something like that. It's not in the walls. It's right there, but you have the protection of being nearby, and there's several other huts or bungalows nearby, and you all wake up, and this is like the first time you've really felt kind of refreshed and healed up after the traumatic day of your first day on the island. I think all kind of determined that you wanted to try to find a way of getting off of the island, and in your talks with the village elders, who were more than willing to offer any sort of information they had, they spoke about like a great ancient ruined civilization at the center of the island that had many magical secrets. You, of course, anybody who has magic in your party can just feel the magic kind of emanating very faintly from that little section of the island. You're going to have to secure transport and some other things, but the day is dawning, and you can do with it what you will. You're all kind of stocked up on supplies, and you're well rested.
Regan might pull Telemon aside and ask him to go speak to the village elder with him before we make our departure.
Oh? About what thing would you like to talk to him, Regan?
I will say I primarily am hoping for your reputation and respectability, and that perhaps if we agree to try to liberate their island and reconnect it with the world, maybe they will send with us one of their champions. I motion to them, and I'll point out that they look much larger than us.
I am not sure that they would wish to be reconnected with the world. They seem to live a rather simple life.
Perhaps there's some other sort of agreement we can come to with them.
During these few days here, would you have been in contact with their shaman, Regan?
Yeah, I would have talked to their shaman. I would have definitely been interested in his.
Would you have proposed the idea that you proposed to me in private chat, or private messaging?
I could have proposed that to him in passing. I hadn't pushed it because we hadn't had an emergency, but I would definitely have proposed it.
Is it something that you would feel that you would do before trekking out into the jungle?
Possibly. I was going to ask for a living person this time.
Okay, all right.
See how that works. Totally just because of the situation, I figure a living might be more appropriate.
Okay, so
something would happen to him, though. You never know.
You guys want a guide, basically?
Sure.
Guide?
Yes. The guide might be very useful. Someone local who knows the woods and possibly what plants are around.
Okay. So
knowing the way would probably be the best.
Not really very many people know the way specifically to the center of the island. They apparently don't go that deep into the jungle, from what you've heard. Keva, the kind of the chief woodworker who organizes the teams who venture out into the jungle to find new lumber, she has a fair amount of experience in the jungle, like probably more than most, but she is also the chief woodworker and very busy. You might have a hard time convincing her to personally lead you out there. On the other hand, you know of not one but two Minotaur that might be eager to accompany you. I think these are probably a couple people that you have interacted with during your stay. Their names are Rundar and Rannick. They are brothers. They are very big, although I think, let's see here. I think Rundar is bigger than his bigger brother, older brother. No, that's Rannick. Rannick is the older of the pair, and both of them are renowned for their strength. They're actually called the Brothers of Thunder and Lightning. They're kind of renowned as the village's not necessarily heroes, but like almost adventuring sort. They're most powerful sort of warriors, but they're both pretty young. Rannick, whose name means lightning in his language, is surprisingly clever and sharp, given his size, and he wields a like one of the few steel-tipped spears on the island, whereas his younger brother Rundar, whose name is Thunder, he is significantly bigger, like even a foot taller. He's a giant among Minotaurs, and he tends to be a little reckless, but he follows his brother's ways, and he carries a massive studded battle club with him that's been passed down through the island's inhabitants. Both of them have traveled far and wide. The village has always had a hard time getting them to settle down to menial tasks. This seems very much like the sort of thing that they would go for. And I think they were probably some of the ones who were eager to listen to Padine's stories of the outside.
Perhaps we should see if they will travel with the great Telemon and his accompanying party.
Yes, I would want to try to sell them the most, as they seem they can be good in a scrap if we need to get into one.
So you guys want to go find Rundar and Rannick?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Okay.
At least they might be able to point out local plants and stuff. Yes.
They had me at Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah, so you're walking out amongst the village, and it's a clear day. Several of the village people, the Minotaurs, give you kind of courteous waves. They've come to accept you over your 3 days here. They're kind of a friendly, open people, and you eventually kind of get pointed to a direction outside of the north gate when you're asking for the two brothers, and you exit the gates. And you see the two of them almost immediately. They're standing in the middle of a dirt circle, and there's several Minotaurs kind of gathered about them, and they're currently engaged in what looks like the most mighty contest of wrestling strength you might have ever seen.
Shall we watch the completion of their test?
Sure, yeah, I join in the crowd, and I even begin playing my fiddle, a very kind of boisterous tune to kind of match their moving about the circle.
Oh,
Reagan will sigh and hope they don't injure themselves before.
No magic into it yet. Just the tune.
I still want to get a 2d6 roll from you, Reckless,
Oh,
just
okay.
to see. I want to see There's something here I'm looking for. I want to see. If
Any
How epic
any
the song
modifier
is.
to it?
just do a 2d6. I want to see. This is not necessarily how good the song is. Ooh, wow, right in the middle. Okay. So the surrounding kind of minotaurs, they're all the younger ones, like the minotaur teens almost, and some of the slightly older ones, they all, they're surprised by your sudden playing of the fiddle, but a few of them are laughing, kind of clapping along, and in the middle of the arena, Rundar has Rannick like almost on the ropes. Like he's bigger than his older brother and stronger, but Rannick has, kind of an inner toughness. And when you start playing your fiddle, Rundar just like for a brief second looks over, like, hey, that's something I've hardly ever heard before. And as soon as that happens, like a fire almost lights in Rannick's eyes. And
I say to Telemon, 2 coins on Rannick.
yeah, and Telmon, do you take this bet?
As I don't have 2 coins, I don't think I can.
Neither does Nico. So that's okay.
Regan will say, I will use her coins and front you some money.
Rannick like takes absolute grasp of this momentary distraction, and with a massive thud into the dirt, he basically flips his younger brother like onto his back and like knocks the wind out of him. Everybody's surprised, and just for a second it's all kind of silent except for maybe the trailing notes of the fiddle. but eventually Rannick helps Rundar up, and he said, and Rundar is kind of like rubbing the back of his head, and he says, "You got me there, older brother." Rannick looks at him. He just shakes his head. "You're far too easily distracted, Rundar. But that was a good match." They eventually brush themselves off and walk over to you. "Hail, outsiders. You seem in fine spirits this morning."
Yes, good
Indeed.
show. Good show, fine gentlemen.
Continue.
Yes.
I stepped on somebody else who was saying the indeed.
No, it's fine. It's already done.
I was just congratulating them, but I'll also add, I was wondering if you might aid us in journeying to the center of the island by chance.
Yes, we are told you know the most about this.
Rundar
Environments.
immediately perks up at this, and like he has unusually like light blue eyes, not a very common color amongst his people. His brother has similar eyes, and he has like kind of a youthful look to him, as you mentioned, a trip to the heart of the island, and like he steps forward and kind of intakes a breath like he's about to like say absolutely, and Rannick puts his hand on his shoulder. "Easy now, brother. We may journey far afield, but how far do you intend to go?"
Well, we intend to find the source of some great magic on this island so that we may find a way off the island.
Or at least investigate the unusual properties therein.
Yeah, I think you see kind of a dark look past Rannick's eyes, and he steps forward, like obviously trying to take charge of his younger brother. "We would certainly be willing to help you, but I don't know if the elders would approve. We have never personally been that far. We have talked about it before." He turns to Rundar, and like they kind of share a glance. "But it is a journey of several days, perhaps, and it could be the jungle holds many dangers."
Perhaps as much as as far as you have been.
I'm going to
He's-
motion to Telemon and say, yeah, You need not worry. I'm sure they will approve of you traveling with the great red wizard and slayer of Fenris the Green, Telemon.
You
Really
say
talking
this.
Telemon up.
Interesting.
You say this, and Rundar is absolutely just buying it. Rannick, like you see like a faint tinge of like the young Minotaur that Rannick doesn't like allow himself to be, kind of come through, and he even looks a little bit excited at that, and they kind of share a glance, and Rundar and Rannick kind of or Rannick slowly starts to nod. Perhaps I will have to speak with Chief Korek, but it could be done.
Was there anything perhaps that your people need from the center? A rare herb, an odd unguent. There are many odd things on small islands.
You bring that up, and he starts shaking his head like he hadn't thought of it, but like now that you're bringing that up, like that seems like a really good excuse, and he gets kind of like a wry smile on his face. Yes, in fact, Lady Elder Prashek is often going on about the great blue frond palm root that grows near the river deep in the jungle. We've not been there in our lifetime, but it has medicinal properties that could be very valuable. I'm sure if we brought some back, that would be very fine.
There's another thing to mention as well. Perhaps you might have your own personal interest going on this trek. You seem very intrigued by the other minotaurs on the other continent. Would you perhaps want to leave with us once we find the way off this island?
They both look at each other, like they'd not thought of that. I think maybe there's a faint glimmer in Rundar's eyes, but you don't see. Like I think you see a little bit of like a lockdown almost in Rannick's eyes, like this is our home.
You can always return at some time, but a journey like that for two brave warriors such as yourself would be an amazing tale.
He doesn't. They don't. Neither of them commit to that. Like it seems Rundar's probably intrigued by it, but I think it's obvious that Rannick thinks it's a bad idea. But yeah, you convince them. You convince them to go with you into the island, at least into the jungle, and like I think they say that they're. Rannick goes to speak with Chief Korek, and he charges his younger brother to look after you and make sure you guys all get the supplies you need for this journey. And he'll meet you by the gate in an hour or two, assuming things go well.
Yes. Both.
Very well.
Secretary.
So back to the other side of the island. Amris, you're not very far into the jungle, but like you're definitely out of sight of the main camp, and you and the other three hunters have sort of spread out, but not very far. They've warned you against the dangers here, and it's slow going, even in the lighter jungle, quote unquote. Linnaeus, you've been following them. What sort of bird are you right now?
I've got a picture of one. Where should I post it?
Roll20 works.
What was that?
You can just paste it right into the Roll20 chat box. That should work fine.
So
Oh well, describe it, I
No.
guess.
You can paste it into the chat box, but yeah, go ahead.
what bird are you? Do you stand out?
Yeah, red-headed. It's gray wings, white underbelly, red head, long gray beard.
Okay. So
But it's not
Amris,
big. It's a small bird.
Amris, you being the keen ranger that you are, you certainly notice this thing standing out, even if this is not a forest that you're used to. And you notice the beard. Would you be trying to make your way away from the rest of the party gradually to try to get some distance and then maybe disappear behind a tree or something and then just eventually lose yourself in the jungle?
Actually,
Like not deeper, but like they're heading kind of deeper into the jungle. You could perhaps head laterally along kind of the line that parallels the beach and potentially lose them without going technically deeper into the jungle.
okay. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay.
And if need be, I will use my camouflage.
Oh yeah, if you're using that makes this a whole lot easier for you. I guess there must be some point where it's just you and probably Haywood. Like the other two have split off to your left, and
Mhm.
they're maybe 90 or 100 feet through the brush away, and that's basically just out of visual range.
Right.
And you've been slowly working your way away from Haywood, and you get behind a tree, and then you put your back up against it, and you freeze, and then you camouflage with your druid, or not your druid, your ranger ability of just blending in. And if you wait, he starts looking around for you. He gets like kind of an alarmed look. He doesn't call out. There was something that he warned you guys about, that noise can attract some of the larger predators. And if you simply just wait, I think maybe after 10 minutes of searching, he starts making his way back towards where the others are, and he's out of sight.
Okay.
And Lunaeus is right there, like on a tree, just a few trees away.
Yeah. Also, since I did agree to help them, is there any obvious signs or boar signs if I use my hunt skill?
Can you repeat that? Signs for what?
They said we were hunting wild boar, correct?
Yeah.
Are there any obvious, if I use my hunt and tracking skill, do I see anything that would lead me to believe there's one pass through this area that I can easily track down?
Let me see. Hunt and track. When you follow a trail of clues left behind by passing creatures will whiz. Yeah. Give me a wisdom roll.
Okay.
I'll say that you guys have probably already stumbled upon some sign. So. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm too dumb to notice it.
It's not that you were more focused on trying to subtly get yourself away from the rest of the hunting party.
Mm-hmm.
And the part of your mind that's so in focus with hunting, like you kind of had to block it out. And okay. when you start to kind of try to pick that up again, you realize that you have no idea where that track was.
Yep. Okay. Well, because my thought was I would still help them a little bit.
Mark,
if I could easily find a boar, I would like.
You don't.
I would go take care of it and then leave it for them as something to.
You can tell me what you could do, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that was the goal of what I was doing. Is all I'm saying. So I do get an XP for that one, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Better than nothing.
Beat tracker.
Failures can be a good thing here.
Okay.
So Lunaeus, Amorous just kind of appears out of this tree. You yourself lost total sight of him. And and you guys are both kind of alone now and separate from the rest. What do you guys do?
So I'll flap down and turn into a druid and go, "Whoa! You can turn into plants?" Oh. Well, I guess that's good too. I want to be able to turn into plants. Oh, let's go east.
So you're making your way to the Minotaur camp? Okay. All right. So this is going to be an interesting thing. Back at the Minotaur camp, you guys are specifically making your way out into the jungle. I want like an update on how much rations each of you in the eastern party have.
4, I think, or maybe 3.
I had 4. I thought when you said we resupplied, I thought you meant we could re-get our rations back, but I had 4 from my 5.
Yeah, I had 5-5 and 4-5, but then I also asked about replenishing, so I put it back to 5-5 last session.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to get a total count of everybody's rations, like a definitive. Don't give me guesses. Like, give me what you have.
I got 10.
5.
I have 5.
4? I think.
Just restocked, so you should have
And
5.
then this is a 5, yeah.
And you, Regan, do you have 10?
Yeah, I've got 10. I'm carrying 2 sets of 5 packs.
Okay. All right. That strikes you as enough for a while.
So we get there and die?
You may have to like forage for food if it takes you too long, but it's certainly possible that you could find food out there. They don't have experience going that far, so they tell you that it's basically going to take maybe 2 or 3 days to get out there, like because the jungle is just so thick. But in reality, like it that's 2 or 3 days there, 2 or 3 days back. You're not using a ration per day. Rations are used per rest. So it's a little bit. You can string them out a little bit, and when Rundar and Rannick return, or when both of them are ready to go, you notice they both have packs on their backs as well, like they're carrying some rations. So, as long as you have them, you probably are not going to have to worry about actually starving out there. There's food in the jungle. You're not in a desert. But I just wanted to make sure you had like an idea of your own ration situation. And I guess how we're going to do this is you yourselves in the Eastern camp are not taking a journey to someplace you've been before, which is like normally when you take a journey to someplace where you're going, like the route there, you can undertake a perilous journey, and that's a mechanic that we do. You're only going to be able to do that to a certain distance into the forest. And it just so happens that Amherst and Lunaeus are also undertaking a perilous journey to the camp on the eastern side. So I'm going to have you guys basically both roll, and we're going to see where you guys get.
Yeah, I haven't done it by going through the jungle before.
Are you going through the jungle, or are you sticking to the beaches? I'm assuming either. It's either is fine with me.
Are we doing the traveling roll thing, by the way? I'm just curious.
Not yet.
It's up to Amherst.
Well, as far as the eastern camp goes, I think Nico wanted to pick up his traveling trunk if we could do
Yes,
that.
yes. I would like to pick up my.
And
my
our
stuff.
goal on top of the ruins is to pick up those fronds. So we need to hit the river anyway. So
But then
going
we
to
have-
the
but then
ship
we-
seems the most direct route to get there.
But then we'd have to take it back to the camp. I don't think you want to carry it.
We'll have to pick it up on the way back.
Yes, that would
Yeah,
probably
that
be
is-
more expedient.
If you consult with the Minotaurs, they say that might be, like, assuming you survive the dangers of the darkest jungle, that might be the best plan, because as Nico describes his crate, like, this is something that they could carry, but you guys definitely couldn't easily carry, not in adventure.
As a side note, the black marks on the center of the island, are those like little mountains or?
You don't know what they are. You could
Think
only
forward.
see the faintest hint of them if you were in certain angles on the island.
Oh, well, they're on the map topographically, so I asked.
Friday back to the shipwreck, Regan will definitely mention that he's planning on getting a jar full of choker if Nicodemus might have any use for that in his
So
experiments.
it sounds like you guys aren't going directly back to the ship. Like,
Okay.
You would have to make a lot of trips. Let's just get a decision from Amherst and Linnaeus. Are you guys going through the jungle or around the beaches? Obviously, the jungle, slow going, potentially hazardous. But you are both the most well equipped to deal with the jungle. The beaches, on the other hand, while safer from creatures and easier traveling, not so much safe from anybody who may or may not be looking for you. So, weighing those, which route do you want to go?
Well, my first instinct is to consult Linnaeus, because obviously he knows he's flown over this at least twice, and find the most direct route that will get us most cover.
Can you
So-
turn into a bird?
No. I only have a bird. I can't become a one.
So if you guys...
I would assume after we talk that he determines that maybe the edge of the jungle where we have where it's not too thick.
Yeah, I was just about to suggest that. That kind of sounds like what you're going for. Do you think
that
that's
way
good, Linnaeus?
he can be a bird. My bird can naturally stay a bird, and I can camouflage if need be to avoid confrontation till we get to a safe place.
Or if
Does
we go by
Linnaeus
the
agree
beach,
with that?
you can ride me, I guess.
Say that again.
If we go by the beach, you could ride me, I suppose.
And what would you be on the beach?
Haven't you ever seen the commercials of somebody taking a romantic ride on a horse along the beach?
What is this commercial you speak of?
No, I was out of character. Sorry.
You
Yeah.
didn't break character as far as I could tell. I had to go there.
So are you guys sticking to the edge of the jungle?
If he wishes to become a horse and will allow me to ride him, that is an option, yes. But otherwise, I would like to stick to the edge of the jungle.
Well, decide now.
Linnaeus, are you offering to become a horse and allow me to ride you?
Yeah, I could do that.
All right,
If I could
then.
become a bigger bird, you'd be able to ride me better. I can't think of one that's that
All
big,
right.
though.
Give me your shapeshift roll, Linnaeus.
Nice.
I think that is
Nice roll, man.
2 hold, isn't it?
It might be
Uh,
3, I
three.
think, for 11.
Okay. For 1 hold, you may let's see here. I know for 2 hold, you can expend 2 hold and gallop for a very long distance. Should you need to flee from predators or something of that nature. And this can also be used to potentially jump objects if you're running at such a speed. And for 1 hold, I don't want to say hoof attack because you can already do that as a horse. I think
Double mule kick.
I think that's probably just what you get as a horse for now, unless I can come up with something else later.
No worries.
All right, so you turn into a horse, a bearded horse. What color is it? Are you like a gleaming
Spotted
white?
gray.
Oh, okay. All right, spotted gray. He doesn't have a saddle, Amris. Do you hop on?
Yeah, being a ranger, I don't think that would be a problem.
All right. So you hop on. I think you guys probably make your way to the edge of the jungle before you do this. And now we're gonna start getting some rolls from people. First off, I'm going to get some rolls from. Do we have any brave adventurer who wishes to roll 1d10 for the
I
entire
will
I
group?
shall roll it. Oh, okay.
You got it, Nika. Go for it.
I shall roll this the magical DM die. 5. The average.
Okay. Right. The weather today is fair. It's not nice, but it's not bad either. Maybe there's some clouds out, or maybe it's like kind of mildly muggy, but it's not bad. So clear weather. Now we get down to the meat rolls. Undertake perilous journey. When you travel through hostile territory, which this is pretty much the entire island, choose one member of the party to act as a trailblazer, one to scout ahead, and one to be quartermaster. The same character cannot have 2 jobs. If you don't have enough party members to choose, or choose not to assign a job, treat that job as if it had rolled a 6. Each job is rolled using wisdom. So the quartermaster basically just has to do with how much rations you use. Trailblazer determines how much time it takes you to get to your destination. Like if you roll well, you make it in a shorter time than you thought. And the scout is the one that spots trouble. So for the Western party, Amris and Lunaeus, which jobs do you want to assign yourselves? Scout, Trailblazer, and Quartermaster. You can only do 2 apparently.
Well, since
I
you
don't
can't
care
have more
about
than
quartermaster at all.
Hmm?
Okay, so
I guess I'll do scout.
that makes sense because Linnaeus is literally,
A horse.
yeah.
So I'd be trailblazing?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Wow. Box
Right.
Damn nice roll, man. Holy
All right.
crap.
So Amris, you definitely see anything that could need to be seen. Can we get a wisdom roll from Linnaeus?
Holy
Ooh.
crap.
Another good roll.
We are a well-off party.
All right. Now, will one of you from the Western party roll 1d10?
Microphone
I'll do it.
activated.
He's already done it.
It's your turn.
Okay.
In the middle.
And if you can, I'm trying to write these down, but if you can, try to remember your rolls if I ask for them. I'm not going to be asking like 10 minutes from now, what was your roll on this?
Well, DM, of course we got a 10. No, I'm kidding.
That
could be
Oh,
bad.
you
So
got
for
a
the
10, huh? 10 panthers leap from the forest.
yeah.
Yep.
For the Eastern party, what roles are you assigning to each person?
Microphone muted.
Looks like Regan's going to be quartermaster. I'll be scout.
Old wizard, I could totally slither through the underbrush and look for mushrooms while I'm at it, maybe.
I'll be my guest, Fred Nico.
Ah, yes. The delicious mushrooms.
So, Nico, are you quartermastering instead? Is that what,
I
what,
think
what that
I'm
was?
trailblazing. I think.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
trailblazing. And who is scouting?
Padine.
Okay. All right. So give me your respective roles, you three.
Seven.
I rolled a 12. And Padin rolled an 8.
Okay.
Our supplies are going to do well, at least.
What was the scout roll?
8.
Trailblaze
7.
and quartermaster.
12.
All right. Will one of you brave souls give me a 1d10?
The old wizard, Shamwell.
Cleric beat ya.
7.
With a 7. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. What does that equal? Okay.
Is that good or bad?
It's up to you entirely. So, I think to get to the other side of the island, it's probably going to take you guys most of a day to get there, even on horseback. For the Western party. So we're going to say that you guys in the Eastern party are journeying 1 day out into the jungle as well. Let's see here.
Just curious really quickly, are
Mhm.
we going like straight west across the jungle, or are we going to go down to the shipwreck to pick up some stuff and then shoot north along the
You guys
river?
determined that you were not going to the shipwreck.
We will
because
stop
you
there
have
on the way back.
You don't have like any pack animals or anything that would be able
Gotcha.
to
That would
take crates.
take the ton of stuff. Okay, but just
And-
any.
Out of curiosity, since we did well on our Trailblazer roll, it just takes less time than
Yep.
normal. Do we get there less
You
than
get
a day than they
farther.
would,
No,
or
you
do
get-
you
you
normally
get
take it
farther.
more than a day to get?
Normally, the way I'm going to handle it is like if we only had one party, it would literally just take you less time. But since we're dealing with kind of like a finite instance of time here, like we're going to be doing this at the same time, and so the Western party is going to take like a day to get there. In a day's travel, instead of getting there in less, like getting a day's travel out, like maybe let's say you would have gotten halfway through the jungle, maybe you get like 60% farther instead.
Microphone muted.
If anybody wishes to roleplay for a brief moment, you can. I am looking some stuff up to see the result of this roll.
So, Nico,
Lovely little mushroom, maybe. Oh.
why do you have such a fascination with the mushrooms? They always... I don't know what people see in them.
Oh, they can have mystery properties. Always, there's all different varieties.
Pardon me.
Some of
but,
them make you
I-
feel quite good. The other ones can kill you if you eat them.
I personally don't like the concept of mystery and what I put in my mouth. This seems very dangerous to me.
You have eaten here. You have drinking the right? Yes. One of these mushrooms can make those. Most likely, or is an ingredient in them.
And you're sure of this?
Oh yes, of course. Oh, why would I be wrong? But there was that one time that I got very sick after trying it, so maybe.
Pardon me, but what I know of the rattling folk, they do seem to be very hardy. Yes, they don't take kindly to disease and the like.
Disease, not poison. Disease.
So in the middle of this conversation, you're traipsing through the jungle, and let me actually get some music going here.
I'm assuming I'm ahead of them a bit, being the scout.
Yeah, probably.
Well, the scout's with the party watching for danger. The trailblazer is ahead, technically. I would
You
think.
see my rattling tail kind of swirling through some brush.
During we've got this conversation going on in the kind of the middle of the party, and we're kind of strung out over a little bit of jungle. The jungle of the island itself is very dense, and the outer jungle, it seemed like a normal jungle to you. It took you 20 or 30 minutes to get through like an area that you think you would have normally walked through, but it wasn't too bad. You start making your way deeper into the jungle, however, and you're having to climb over vines. There's strange noises everywhere. Like some of these creatures that you can't see but you hear are things that you have never heard before. And it is like an entirely different world for those of you who have never been in a jungle before. It's incredibly green, incredibly full of life, and there's like a rich smell to it that Telemon and Regan, it's not the same smell, but I think it strikes you almost as this as strong as the odor from the tree that you guys found in your first adventure. It's just like there's so much life here
So
that
not
it is
not terribly. It's rotten decay, but not like evil undead.
Yeah.
Like rotten decay.
But, I'm
smells
more
of new
getting
discovery.
I'm getting more at just the fact that you can't walk through this place without inhaling it and even smelling that you're in someplace
What's
new.
the light level in here?
It's fair. There's some breaks in the canopy here and there. There's like maybe a stream here or there that you could obviously walk around that you've got some light. There's the occasional clump of jungle that you've come across that's a little bit harder to get through.
I was curious because the jungles vary in light level.
You know from what you've heard from the Minotaurs that it can get very dark closer to the center of the jungle.
One little
This
side
is like
note.
your typical tropical jungle, right? That kind of
Yeah,
thing? Okay.
pretty much.
One little side note, I definitely be talking to our Minotaur friends along the way and kind of trying to suggest that I'm kind of a shaman in that way, so if I do anything crazy, I hopefully won't freak them out and have them try to bash my head in.
You're explaining your magics in the realm of the same as their shaman using magics, like
Yeah, I'll show a lot of respect for their shamans.
okay.
Shaman philosophy.
That flies pretty well. Like you see Rannick nodding his head. Like I think maybe a lot of it goes a little bit over Rundar, but Rannick nods understanding. Like they both understand that what you're saying. Shamans are a very respected kind of group of people among the Minotaur, but they're very rare. Like you can't just be a shaman by chanting some words. Like they're the very few people who have some sort of mystical power. So we have these conversations going on, and I think who was Scout? That was
Padine.
okay. All right. Up ahead, your eyes are keen, or at least keen enough, and you're making okay time. You catch just the faintest hint of a color, like maybe a pattern of colors that's going almost the wrong way. Like plants tend to grow up. This is the green pattern here is going almost like sideways almost through the foliage, and it kind of sets your eyes off like that doesn't really belong. And you see something that's just kind of in the jungle that doesn't look quite right.
I'll alert the others by quietly but curtly whispering, "Wait!" I'll look a little harder for the next second to see if I can see anything moving about in that area that I saw that pattern.
So it's clear to you that just beyond this thick kind of underbrush that you're passing is a very slight clearing. Not 15 feet in diameter, and like the canopy clearing itself is even smaller than that.
There's a clearing of the canopy up ahead.
And there's definitely something in it. Do you try to get a little bit closer to see what's there?
I'll move a few steps forward, kind of
Mhm.
bringing my head around to see if I can make it out through the brush and
You
vines
see-
and such.
You see a large form in this clearing, and you stop like almost immediately. I assume as soon as like you step on a twig and that noise attracts its attention and it looks in your direction. You stop. It's large. It's got kind of like a jade-colored feathering to it, and you recognize it as the griffin that you ran into before. It might not be the same griffin, but it certainly could be. It's definitely the same species.
Okay, I'll tell the others. Oh my, it's another griffin.
The other one? Perhaps we should go around?
Beside Regan, I think Rannick is crouched down. They're surprisingly kind of agile and quiet despite their size in this dense jungle. They use their arms and stuff to actually grab onto the trees and like navigate that way. He's crouching down next to you. He says,
I'm pointing at it.
Griffins are very dangerous, but they are also a symbol of good luck amongst my people. They are a noble creature.
Yes, we had one aid us against some jungle cats a few days ago.
I'll suggest that if it poses a threat, I could perhaps scare it away without harming it.
We should just back off.
Perhaps
around.
Go
I
around.
agree. Go around.
Okay, so you guys just want to kind of circumnavigate this area. I think it
Yeah.
obviously notices that there is a group moving through the jungle, but it doesn't seem to be, like as long as you're not bothering it, it's not gonna leave its kind of shelter.
Can I find a rock or something on the ground?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Oh god.
Don't worry, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm not gonna do anything with it just yet. Just in case.
Did I find any mushrooms as I went through the forest?
Was this you looking for something specific? Because you found some mushrooms, but I don't know that they have special effects to them. Were you searching for something that had a particular effect to it that you could use?
I was looking for the ones that make healing potions, but I don't necessarily know exactly how to make healing potions yet. So
That's a good question. Let's see here.
Yeah,
Potions,
I hope you're
when
eating
you-
it from months ago.
When you spend time in a well-equipped lab creating a potion, decide what you're trying to do, blah, blah, blah.
Like, does he like take a sip from his like healing potion?
Do
Try the
you
mushroom?
have
This
do you
doesn't
have an
quite taste
ability
right.
that lets
You
you look
added-
for ingredients?
you added chemist to the advanced moves, but that wasn't in the base class.
Mm-hmm.
The base class would probably be educated guess, but
Well, that's the sort of thing that if you came across something, you could use it for. I'm looking to see if you have anything that lets you specifically search for an ingredient.
no, I don't
Um,
think so.
Okay, so I think obviously you can still look for something. It's just you don't have a move that like guarantees you one way or another of finding it. Give me an int roll. Maybe we'll see if you actually know like an ingredient to make a health potion that might be on this island.
Well, what did I just do?
You have some idea that that actually those blue palm plants that they were talking about might actually be used for that sort of thing. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing that comes to mind. So if you guys don't mess with the Griffin, it doesn't mess with you, and you continue on your merry way, unimpeded, except by the jungle itself. The Western Party, you guys managed to make it the full day to the Minotaur camp. Well, actually, no, it's not even a full day because you rolled really well. You make it in kind of shorter time, and you arrive just at like dusk at the like the site of the Minotaur village. Amorous and Lunaeus.
Okay. I guess we attempt to enter since it's still daytime, and I assume the Minotaurs know Lunaeus if he transforms back into a.
Yeah. So do you just ride up on him, or Lunaeus, do you turn back into a druid?
Well, if they keep the gate closed, I'll turn into a druid.
The gates are open, but like they see you riding a horse, Amorous, and much the same scene that we got when the party first got into the site of the village. Like, basically, a small group of Minotaurs kind of comes out to meet you with weapons, but they're not like hostily pointed at you.
On that note,
I'll
are they familiar with horses?
What?
Are they familiar with horses? Is it like, are they like a thing on the island? Or?
Nope.
They have no clue what a horse is.
Probably not.
Okay. Well, I will dismount, and then I think Lunaeus said he transforms.
Well, I pranced up to him first.
Yeah.
They shy back from you. Like when you prance up to them, like they actually do. Like a couple of them lower their spears, and they see this weird ass, like a horse itself to somebody who had never seen one might be pretty weird, but one with a large beard, fucking weird. So, Amorous, you see Lunaeus prancing up to these guys, like not a care in the world, and they're not sure what sort of creature this is. They're looking from you to it and back again, and
then you look at the druid who's turned into a druid.
Oh, okay. You hadn't said anything about that yet.
I know, that's why I just said. That's why I mentioned it.
So yeah, you pop into druid form, and they like, I think the ones who hadn't lowered their spears actually do, and like you are now surrounded by armed people, like in a semicircle, and in one of them in the back, just like shouts kind of at both of you, like, "What is your business here, outsider?"
He's talking to you.
Boy. I come seeking shelter. My friend here has already been in your encampment and says that others are here also. I had to flee the human encampment on the other side of the island.
The Minotaurs kind of look to each other. Couple in
he's
the back,
right.
Couple in the back are kind of like talking to each other. You are with the great Telamon the Red?
Oh yes, I've seen. I was on the same boat he was when we crashed.
You were not of the Iron Fortress.
We went there initially seeking shelter, but things did not go too well. So I escaped, and my friend here had suggested y'all were a much friendlier camp. But yes, I have seen Telamon and Nicodemus. I've traveled with them for many days on our ship.
They all kind of glance back at Linnaeus, and one of them, I think both of you kind of hear like, "Isn't that crazy old shaman that flew into the village?" "Yeah, you're right." Like, they only saw you basically like once or twice, so they're not really familiar with you. But they They eventually let you in, but you're pretty guarded. There's always a couple minotaurs with you,
Okay.
and they take you in to see the chief. Um, they lead you to a kind of a low but wide household in the kind of the center of the village, and a like a dark furred minotaur with a hint of kind of graying to his mane greets you with not necessarily skepticism, but some guardedness. More outsiders, it seems. Uh, you were. Do I recognize you, bearded one?
I don't know. I'm not you.
He like squints at you, and you both of you start to notice his face is starting to scowl a little bit. Amherst,
So I'm
do you
squinting
introduce
right
yourself?
back at him.
Yes. Greetings, and did he give his name already? I didn't catch it if you said it.
Yeah. He would have been like told to you by the people leading you there as Chief Korik.
Ah, okay. Greetings, Chief Korik. I am Amaris, a ranger that recently was stranded here. Part of my other shipmates made their way here, and this elderly druid came and told me of your camp and that y'all were a friendly. The party that I had originally been with tried to fit in with the humans in the Iron Fortress, but they did not. It did not go so well, and Linnaeus suggested this would be a much better place.
You guys are much friendlier than those idiots on the other side of the island.
You catch a smirk on his face, like when you say those idiots on the other side of the island, and he's kind of looking at you from down his snout with his arms crossed, but he's warmed up a little bit. Well, I can't say that that we can welcome all outsiders, but if you are truly known to those who came before, then you are welcome here.
Thank
Your
you, good sir.
your friends just left this morning, actually.
Oh, already?
Yes, for many days they have been discussing with our elders potential means off of the island, and they have gone deep into the jungle in search of a source of ancient magic that the great wizard Telemon thinks could potentially be your route to freedom.
Interesting. Can perhaps you show me where on a map they were headed, and maybe I can meet them so we can work as a team?
Yeah, because he needs help getting off the island.
And then none of us would bother your wonderful city anymore.
He nods. I am curious to the circumstances of your departure from the Iron Fortress.
Do you want me to tell you about it?
Well,
He looks like he's having second thoughts already.
I was giving Linnaeus a chance to be responded to, but well, things, as what I've been told, you're aware of, the people of the fortress are not the friendliest of sort, and they seem rash to judgment and quick to judge. And I just decided it would be better to be among a much friendlier group. The old druid here described y'all as a much friendlier group, that we would be more welcome and less inclined to be forced into things against our will. So I joined a hunting party this morning as a way of getting out of the island, and then we proceeded here.
So yeah, he listens to your story, and this is all, of course, as he's taking you into the kind of the chieftain's hut and is showing you the very, very crude maps they have of the island. It's if it's accurate, it's you really have no way of knowing if it's accurate.
Naturally.
And he basically just kind of points to the center of what the jungle is rendered on the map, and he says, "This is where your friends are headed. They are traveling along this route," and he draws you kind of a very generic path. No one has been that deep into the island for several generations, and we tend to not even go out half that far. So
A wise choice. This jungle appears quite dangerous.
yes, none of the rest of us would venture in there. It's a fool's errand, but Rannick and Rundar, it is hard to tame them.
Ah, younger sons of yours?
Not my sons, but they are sons of the village. They are very willful, but your friends should be in good hands. They have not met a foe that could best them yet.
Oh, they appeared. Since they only left this morning, I should be able to track them and hopefully catch up with them.
Yeah, he nods. Like he recognizes you as a woodsman. And yeah, definitely knowing the general direction where they're going, and he offers to have somebody take you to the base of the jungle where everybody kind of entered. You could probably follow their tracks.
Right. Unless we have some severe nasty weather that should prevent.
Yeah. It's like I said before, it's like dusk getting on into evening. Are you going to head straight out, or are you going to rest? You've been traveling the whole day.
Well, being that I figure my party will rest at night, that I'm trying to catch up with, resting at night seems wise.
Mm-hmm.
Linnaeus, do you wish to follow the other part of our group, or the other group? I go out in the morning, and maybe we can all find a way off this island.
Sure. Sounds good.
Maybe you
Can I
could
have someplace to sleep? I'm asking the Minotaur.
He directs you to the same hut that everybody else has been using, and it says you're welcome to it. It's just outside of the wall, and he has somebody show you there.
Okay, I'll bow low in front of him and say, "Thank you very much."
Thank you, Chief.
He gives you a respectful nod and wishes you well on your journey tomorrow. So out in the jungle, it's starting to get night. Are you guys gonna push on? Are you guys gonna try to make camp? That's definitely what the two Thunder brothers are kind of suggesting, that you should find some place to set up for the night and be wary.
That sounds wise.
Are you guys looking for anything in specific to make camp?
Maybe a big tree as a backstop.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can find a rather large tree. And
At this point, thinking about big trees as backstops, I flash back to our previous experience with Rhaegon and I.
Yeah.
Sleeping next to very large trees.
Yeah.
do you say anything of this?
I think I might just exchange a look with Telemon at the big tree suggestion.
I take a very good look at the tree before we choose to bed down next to it.
As with the rest of the jungle, there are vines everywhere, and there's moss and ferns, and it's a jungle. So the two brothers take some rather large torches out of their packs and start placing them in a perimeter, like a tight perimeter around where you guys are going to be camping. And yeah, they eventually light them. You've got kind of a back wall to you, and yeah. Do we want to determine watch for the night?
Sure.
Okay. I want to make sure everybody marks down one ration for the No, wait. Your quartermaster rolled a 12.
Yep.
Yay!
You
Some of
are.
those mushrooms he said were edible.
Yeah, no shit.
We're all
Yeah,
tripping
no-
balls.
No Martian, no ration marking down for you.
Tonight we eat mysterious mushrooms.
But you will need to. Let's see here.
So I get a big leaf and I fill it with water, and I start cooking mushrooms too.
Yep. So, but you will need to mark down a ration for making camp.
So there's this ratling stirring a pot of water.
Although Amorous and Lunaeus, you do not need to. You're in safety right now. So who's staying on watch? I think we had a watch order from before. Do we want to use that?
Did we write it down somewhere?
I have it written down. I have it as Padine, Regan, and then Tell. And Sporn, the ooze, was throughout the night.
Probably same watch. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Two members of the jungle party. Roll me 1d10 each.
I got a 6.
Can I get another 1d10?
Caliban has dibs.
Okay.
Oh, Tell kicked my butt.
That depends if 10 is good or bad.
Yeah, true.
All right, so a 9. It's a very nice evening out. It's like it's hard for you to have like a nice evening in the jungle, but you're not getting eaten up by flies. Like there was the occasional bug on your trip here. It seems like for some miraculous confluence of circumstances, maybe
I find
it's
a beetle, I eat it.
ambient pressure or something. It's a clear night, and you're not being eaten alive by mosquitoes in the jungle. I think that's a win.
A wonder in itself.
Yeah, and nothing untoward happens during the night. I don't know that you guys sleep entirely soundly your first night in the jungle. There's a lot of weird shit going on, but yeah. You all wake up the following morning. Nobody's been strangled in their sleep by a vine.
Thank God.
And
Python, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, everybody gets up in both camps. Do you Amorous and Lunaeus, do you want to set out as like at first light?
That would make sense, yes.
Okay, yeah, you've got some ground to make up.
At this point, Joe pulls out the gigantic mushroom that he found.
Yes, I
Bigger
pull out
than
the
a
giant
plate, and we
mushroom
have that for breakfast.
and I slice it up, and then I kind of like find a rock and I like fry it on the rock.
Okay, yeah.
I think Regan
Giant-
also at some point mentioned to Nicodemus if any of his mushrooms are going bad, I might be able to help him with that.
I just got them. Why were they going bad already?
Undead mushrooms.
Literally going bad. So in the
They
Minotaur
come back
camp,
to attack us later from the inside.
Kava, the woodworker, shows you out to the edge of the jungle, Amorous and Lunaeus, and she bids you a good luck on your travels. She shows you definitely to the path. Like there's a worn path here in the jungle where obviously the woodworkers used to enter the jungle, and she says that they traveled along this path, and if you keep following it, you'll see where they eventually went off into the jungle proper.
Okay. I think the woodworker and we head off unless Linnaeus has something else he's doing.
Nope, I don't have anything else I'm doing.
Okay. Do you want me to roll my hunting and tracking now, or wait till we get to the split? Or what?
Yeah, roll me your hunting and tracking now.
Here, be right back.
What was your roll?
7.
Okay. We follow a trail of clues left behind by passing creatures will whiz on 7+. You follow the creature's trail until there is a significant change in its direction or mode of travel. Yeah. You find a trail easy enough. Two large sets of tracks that you assume to be minotaurs, and several smaller sets of tracks. They're heading off deep into the jungle, and you're able to...
They're not exactly trying to go sneakily, so...
Yeah.
Actually, your best bet probably to follow all the picked mushrooms that are probably just...
Yeah, I think you notice a particularly large mushroom stalk with no cap on it. And somewhere on the other side of the jungle, we see the ratling burping as he's patting his belly. And, like...
So tasty.
Like, maybe using a little bit of a... Like... I guess a toothpick or something to get the last of that mushroom out of your teeth.
Only question I have is,
Mhm.
do I transform into something for you to ride, or do you want something that can track well?
Well, I would assume where we're at, riding isn't a good option.
It would
Well,
not
I'd
be.
do
Good
something
for
smaller,
horses.
like a jackass.
Also, probably not good. Do you want us to roll another tracking and all that, like we did last for the journey across the island star?
Nope.
Or do you want
Nope.
to use the same numbers we already had?
You are now kind of using...
Their numbers?
We're now in real time, basically.
Okay.
They're trailblazing for us.
Yeah. So, deeper jungle party.
We're gonna eventually get us all together.
Yeah. You guys wake up, you break camp, and you're about to set off when Rundar like calls out to his brother, and he says something in Minotaur, and I assume you say, you know, what is it? And Rannick calls back, we have a trail sign here, large beast.
Would it be the Griffin again?
He's like now leaning down next to the trail and studying it. Let's see here. Like it seems to be just kind of like a breaking up of the underbrush, and there's some areas in the soil that have been really dug in. He looks up and he says, "Probably boar, maybe razor boar."
Normal boar? Big boar?
He looks at it, he squints. Could be very large boar. Could be small razor boar.
Are these a much bigger boar species? I'm used to one I like make out the size of a small pig, a biggish pig-ish.
He actually laughs a little bit. He chuckles. He says, "There were tales amongst my people of those who had tamed the razor boar and rode it into battle. Not many
Nicodemus
tales,
has
though."
this picture of a ratling
No,
riding a razor boar.
A minotaur riding a boar. So
He
it's-
nods.
Oh, much bigger than I was thinking.
Yeah, so that trail
I would
seems
think
to
such
be...
a beast would leave quite obvious trail in the jungle.
He says, could be small razor boar. Still perhaps...
Why is it called a razor boar? Is it perhaps the tusks that are very sharp? Are we talking like razorback?
He shakes his head, like at both. He says,
Be tough
tusks,
to ride with a razor back.
all four tusks, very sharp. Spines on the sides and on the back, also very dangerous. And you say tough to ride when there's spines on there, and he nods. Why only few tails of domesticated razor boar?
I would imagine
Special
one
saddle.
must be very careful.
So yeah, that trail. I'm gonna put down a marker on the map where you guys are. Objects and tools.
Little dashed line or something. An X
Give
or
the
where we
Indiana
are.
Jones sort of treatment
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly. Oh wow, we've gone that far. Holy crap!
Yeah. You guys made good time. Notably, this is like as far as anybody in his generation has ever. Yeah, there we go. We get like the